let's talk about variables. If you're not familiar with variables themselves, that's okay. We're here to talk about them. So a variable is basically a reserved memory location with some value in it. So let's write our first variable, number equals 2. All right, so if you've noticed in our previous tutorials, values we've used before are basically gone once they're used. But in the case of number right here, 2 can be reused over and over again. So let's make some more numbers. Variables, my bad. Real word equals, let's say a word. Okay, now let's see how these can be reused. So let's say a word, and we see word. So let's do type of word, and we get class string. So basically we reuse word again and again. Moving on, let's try assigning one value to multiple variables. So let's say a equals b equals c. Now this is pretty logical, as in like in mathematics. You just have multiple variables and you assign one value. So let's demonstrate and see if this works. Print a 1.5, print b 1.5, and print c 1.5. As you can see, this worked. So let's talk about the comma operator now. What this does basically, it can take multiple variables and assign multiple respective values to them. So let's have 1, 2, 3. Those are our 3 variables. And we have 1 as in the number, 2 as in the string, the word, and 3.0 as in 3 in the floating point form. All right, so now we have our variables. And now let's see if this worked. So let's do print 1. We get 1. And print 2. We get 2. And print 3. We should get 3.0. All right. So now let's demonstrate the dynamic nature of variables in Python. So let's reassign number as 1. And then let's make a string called str and inside it string. And then let's say number again, but this time equals string. And if you've noticed, and if you're familiar with other programming languages, this might kind of look weird to you, but in Python, this is kind of unique. It's unique to Python. So basically, you could dynamically assign variables. You don't have to basically first define the type and the variable name to initialize it. In Python, you can just write a string variable name and its value. You don't have to worry about initializing it. And that's what makes Python pretty dynamic. And it's also important to note that variable names should be pretty descriptive, self-descriptive that is. So be sure to name, for example, string. If it's going to be a string, be sure it's pretty logical so you won't get confused later. Like, don't name string if it's a number and number if it's a string. Just be sure that you make variable names that are pretty logical and easy to understand. So moving on, let's see what things we can't give as names in variables. So first we're going to do import keyword and keyword dot kw list. So these are keywords. Basically, they are specific words reserved in Python for specific purposes and functions, like as we saw with print and type. So don't give any names to your variables that are in this list. And that is all for this tutorial on variables.